Welcome back to Harbor. In the wake of General McChrystal's dismissal, liberal Democrats are challenging President Obama on his war strategy in Afghanistan. This is big stuff now. California Congresswoman Barbara Lee has written a letter to the president asking for a clear plan for troop withdrawal before Congress votes on any more war funding. Let's go to Congresswoman Pingree. I know Maine's a tough state. It's a very independent-minded state. It's not left. It's not right. I worked for Ed Muskie for years. I know that territory. They must be getting pretty skeptical about whether we can win anything. Karzai's a crook. He stole the election. Karzai's in bed with the Indians. The Pakistanis don't trust him. I mean, I went through the whole list Friday night. There's just nothing good to say about this situation. Aren't we being blindsided? Isn't Karzai going to cut a deal around our back when we're still fighting? What's going on with him?
Well, first let me say thank you for mentioning Maine and our great hero, Mr. Muskie. I am glad to know that you have involvement with him in the past. But you're right. This is a corrupt government, and people are increasingly getting discouraged. Congresswoman Lee has been fighting on this issue for a long time. I'm a freshman member of Congress, and I ran against the war. And as you said, a Republican and Democratic state where, frankly, independence rules. People are concerned with the loss of lives, and people are concerned with the fact that this now costs us $7 billion a month. Our strategy isn't working. That was clear when General McChrystal had to resign and some of the things that we learned there. But the fact is, people are increasingly concerned about this. We're not making progress. And I think the Congresswoman's right. We have to have a lively debate here in Congress before we approve more money for the president.
Sebastian Younger, who's an expert over there, he said they'll come right back in where they were before. They don't like it in the mountains of Pakistan. They loved it where they had the whole country to themselves. What's to stop al-Qaeda from using the same base they used to attack us in 9/11?
It's a perfectly reasonable question, but let's say we don't know the answer. The question is, are we succeeding in what we're doing now? I sit on the Armed Services Committee. We had General Petraeus in there last week. There are people who will say, you know, it's going to get better. Maybe it's going to be better in 5 years. The loss of life, the cost. We also have people who testify before our committee who say our presence there, as Congresswoman Lee was alluding to, our presence there exacerbates the situation. So if it's not improving, if our strategy isn't working, if we continue to lose lives, and this is money our country can't afford in an economic downturn, what's the argument for staying? We don't know what the future will look like. I think you've got great
arguments. I agree with your arguments. I still have questions. I like your letter, Congresswoman Pingree. I like your letter. I think it asks for clarity. Do you think you'll get it?
I don't know if we'll be successful this time, but we have to continue to have this debate. We have to attempt to stop the funding for continuing the war. You know, we're not succeeding. As Congresswoman Lee said, this has gone on longer than any other war, and we're not being successful.
I think you're doing a good job here. Thank you very much, Congresswoman Chellie Pingree and Congresswoman Barbara Lee.